Hello everyone, and welcome to my Days of Our Lives official channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Everett sees somebody from before. At the bar, Stephanie got together with Jada and Rafe to hang out. So, who is this fortunate new customer? Jada inquired. It's the bistro, whose business was seriously wounded by that medication attack. They recruited me to attempt to cause some harm control, Stephanie made sense of. Rafe said he had been late a result of the medication issues around, as well. No business-related chatter, tonight, Rafe proposed. Jada and Stephanie concurred. Let's keep it to humiliating individual stuff, Jada said. Stephanie kidded that Rafe could incline toward additional macho subjects. I feel perfectly at ease discussing my emotions. Indeed, even private, humiliating ones, Rafe said. Stephanie was asked by Jada whether she was still swearing off men. For what reason would we say we are getting going with humiliating me? Stephanie asked with mock shock. Jada guaranteed Stephanie that she could humiliate them next. Stephanie affirmed that she was not dating. Rafe remarked, I sensed a slight hesitation. When Stephanie was working with two of her ex-boyfriends, it was hard to swear off men, she said. At the point when Jada got some information about the subsequent man, Stephanie said he was the man she had dated in Seattle. I didn't realize you used to live in Seattle. I used to live out there for a couple of years, as well, Jada said. With a shake of her head, Stephanie deplored that they had not known each other then to sympathize with each other. Jada offered a toast to not requiring comforts in times of dire need. While Rafe requested one more lager at the bar, Stephanie told Jada that Rafe was enchanting. Jada snickered. He is, right? What's more, he's so kind and steadfast and entertaining. Not at all like my lying, conning ex, Jada said. Stephanie inquired as to whether her marriage had finished on the grounds that her better half had cheated. It was the manner by which I found out, Jada said. Jada made sense of that she had found a charge at a gem store, yet her significant other had not given her any adornments. That probably been so agonizing, seeing that charge, Stephanie said. Jada let Stephanie know that she had defied her better half, and he had been angry that Jada had been dubious of his activities. Jada added, and I knew it was over. Rafe got back to the table, and Jada let him know he had not missed anything. At the paper, Everett chipped away at his tale about the medication exchange. Everett talked through the story strings with himself until he was occupied by a memory of his visit with Stephanie in the recreation area. I love being your shoulder and your companion. Furthermore, I simply believe you should realize that there won't be any strain from me to be much else, Everett had said. Everett called Stephanie after he shook his head at the memory. Could I at any point email you the duplicate to my subsequent piece on the medication emergency? Everett inquired. Stephanie informed Everett that she would read his copy in the morning, despite the fact that she was out with friends. Everett apologized for having interfered. How about you go along with us? Stephanie inquired. You sure I couldn't meddle? Everett inquired. Stephanie said no, so Everett told her he would head over. At the Brady bar, Stephanie educated Rafe concerning the geocaching scrounger chase. When Everett entered the bar, he saw Jada. After a second, Everett left, concealed. My companion ought to have been here at this point, Stephanie noted. Everett messaged Stephanie that he was unable to meet her at the bar. That is really awful. I was truly anticipating meeting him, Jada said. After Stephanie left to turn in, Jada let Rafe know that she was frustrated she had not met Stephanie's companion. It doesn't take a criminal investigator to perceive the amount she prefers this person, Jada said. Rafe recommended that they proceed with their night at his place. Outside the Brady bar, Stephanie called Everett. Stephanie received an apology from Everett for standing up. You still working? Stephanie inquired. No. I'm in my room. Might you at any point come over? Everett said, what I need to say to you, it really can't wait. Stephanie headed toward the Salem motel and she got together with Everett in his room. Is everything okay? Stephanie inquired. I have an admission, something you want to hear, Everett said. Xander was cooking for their consumes night supper in the kitchen when Sarah got back. As Sarah found a spot at the table, Xander conveyed her a steak pie. I wanted to please you very much. In fact, you are my motivation whenever I want to succeed, Xander acknowledged. Sarah got some information about Xander's outing to the paper. Xander affirmed that Victoria had rested through the entire visit, and he got some information about her day at work. Business as usual, Sarah said. Xander asked Sarah when she had last asked the clinic for a raise. With a shrug, Sarah conceded that she had not asked as of late. Xander noticed that with constantly exertion and close-to-home work of her work, he accepted that she ought to be compensated fairly. I'm fine with my compensation, Sarah said. Xander rebutted, maybe you shouldn't be. Sarah jumped, and she conceded that discussion of cash made her self-conscious. Since our latest issues were on the grounds that we were bankrupt, and you were ready to do shameful things to make us not broke, Sarah said. Sarah shrugged and said that she made a good living at her job. Along these lines, Victoria will continuously be dealt with, Sarah said. I guess you're correct, Xander conceded. Sarah added that with the paper, the two guardians could add to Victoria's life. Xander was sorry. I intended to communicate no uncertainty about that. As I said, I'm simply going to make a living now decently, honorably, Xander said. Xander said with a grin that he wanted to be a good father to his daughter. It's more essential to me than anything, Xander said. Sarah let Xander know that she trusted him. Sarah said that she needed a relaxing night at home with Xander after dinner and a few glasses of wine. With a smile, Xander educated Sarah concerning how Victoria had taken a gander at him eagerly when he had perused to her. Perhaps she truly is exceptionally bright and splendid and completely grasped you, Sarah said with a chuckle. Xander brought up that Victoria's extreme fixation had helped him to remember Sarah. Sarah guffawed. Victoria, how's your grin? It's a wonderful grin, coincidentally, Sarah said. Xander countered that Sarah looked exquisite regardless of whether she grinned. Particularly while you're embracing our girl, Xander said. Sarah's grin blurred, and she noticed that after the sadness over Mickey, they were honored to have a solid kid. I feel honored, as well. That ideal, solid youngster is our own. A result of our affection. At that point, Xander said. Xander added that at that time, he was thankful to get to know Sarah another way. In a superior manner, Sarah added. Sarah and Xander consumed the entire bottle of wine. Sarah gave a playful grin. Will we attempt our bourbon in the Celtic cup? Sarah inquired. You mean the quaich? Xander inquired. Sarah gestured indeed, and she made sense of that she loved that it implied trust. With a gesture, Xander went to get the cup and the bourbon from the counter. Something that we have been striving to remake. Also, it's been going obviously superior to expected. Wouldn't you say? Xander inquired. I do, Sarah said. Xander emptied the bourbon into the cup. I'm impressed by what a responsible and truly loving father you are, as well as an amazing roommate and mad cooking skills, Sarah told Xander. Xander smiled. You're first class yourself, Sarah. You're a brilliant mother and an ideal flatmate, Xander countered. Xander tasted from the cup. They utilize this for weddings? Sarah inquired. Xander gave Sarah the cup after saying yes. The wedding few, they drink from that, and afterward they quote Robert Consumes, Xander said. Xander presented the Consumes sonnet A Red, Red Rose. Sarah calmed Xander by placing her hand on his mouth in the middle of the poem. Xander and Sarah gazed into each other's eyes, and she kissed him. After a second, Sarah pulled away, and she grinned. Would it be advisable for us to take this to the room? Sarah inquired. We shouldn't, Xander murmured. Sarah laughed out of shock. You should realize that I would truly love the idea of to have intercourse to you at this moment and the entire evening.